Hi there, welcome or welcome back. My name is Gina. I'm so glad that you're here to chat with me today about my knitting. I think it's been about a month or so since I last recorded and uploaded, and I have been very busy since then. Yeah, not recording, but lots of knitting. I am coming to the end of my semester. I mean, technically my semester's already over, but I'm teaching an extra little May intersession class, and so I am still working, but I'm very excited that my school year is about to be officially over and I can devote myself to knitting and thinking about knitting things almost full time. So, all right, so I will start today. I have a lot of finished objects and even a few new cast-ons to show. So, I'm hoping that I can keep this under an hour, but no promises. That is my goal that I'm striving for, but not quite making, I don't think. Okay, so first up is the garment that I am wearing. This is my summer snow tee by Joanna Ang. Stand up, as you can see. Oh, I have one tail I haven't woven in yet, which I can talk about why that is still hanging out in a little bit. Let's see if I can show the back detail on this. Oh, I love the shoulder on this. And it's got ribbed sleeves and hem and neckline, but with a rolled edge. And I'll just go ahead and say that the reason that this tail has not been woven in is because I actually re-knit my rolled edges. Initially because usually when I cast off, I have difficulties with things being too tight. And so usually I find it helpful to size up in my needles when I actually go to cast off. In this case, casting off with larger needles made my rolled hem look really big and sloppy. And so I ended up going back and ripping that out. In fact, I think I may have ripped back to where like you knit the rib section in one needle size and then you change to another needle size. And I think I might have ripped out the whole stockinette portion, the whole rolled part, to knit that in a smaller needle, so that it didn't look as messy. It looked neater. So this one was definitely redone with the smaller needle. And I think when I originally did this on the larger needle, I had gotten progressively like tighter and tighter and tighter with my casting off as I saw that it was looking messy. And so this one I didn't think looked quite as bad, but I was leaving the tail out in case I decided I wanted to go back and rip that one off as well. And I may still do that, but honestly, this has been finished for like over a week. So I don't know. I would say the odds are not great at this point that I will go back and redo that. But anyway, yeah, so this is my summer snow. This is a test knit for Joanna Ang. It's going to release on May the 26th. So that's next week at the time that I'm recording this. I don't know when I'll actually get it up, but be on the lookout for it. I started mine on April the 6th and I cast it off on May the 8th. And I was definitely not knitting on this monogamously during that time. And I'll insert some pictures over here as I am talking with it being modeled so that you can see it in sort of full length. I made the size 3, which is 52 inches. It's supposed to be by the schematic. Mine came out a tiny bit smaller. So my overall width was 51 inches. It goes from the smallest size of this is a 41 inch and it goes up to a 60 3/4 inch. It does call for a suggested ease of 7 3/4 to 13 3/4. So my full bust is 40 inches. My or sorry, my upper bust is 40 inches. My full bust is like 46 inches. So I knit the size 3 for a for 11 inches of positive ease for my upper bust, because if you have not seen my videos before, I have a large difference between my upper and full bust. And so after a few years of trial and error, I realized that it definitely does make a big difference in the fit of my garments if I will use my upper bust measurement when I'm choosing a size rather than my full bust measurement, because that way it fits around the shoulders and my frame better. It fits like more like it's supposed to if I choose for those size. If I knitted according to my full bust size, like this would have been a whole nother size up, and it already has so much positive ease. I can't imagine. Anyway, so yeah, this is a really fun pattern. You start by casting on at the back edge, and you increase out, and that is what makes this really pretty little line here along the shoulder. That's actually your increase line where you're increasing. So yeah, you start with like just a small set of cast on stitches, and then you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you go down, and then you knit down. So you go out to the width of your sleeve, and then you just start knitting straight down on the back, and you knit until you get to the, this is hanging out, gonna bother me, till you get to the bottom of your sleeve, and then you put your back stitches on hold, and then you come and you pick up for your front. And so you pick up stitches along here and then knit this down, and you're also increasing over here to create your neck shaping. So you do one side and then you knit down the other side, doing the same thing. And then when you get it to the bottom of where your collar is going to be, you join your two fronts together, and then you knit on down until you get your front to the bottom of your sleeve. I did, because of my full bust situation, I often have to lengthen garments in the front to fit over the bust. And so I knit, I think, about 16 extra rounds on both the front and the back to get my overall length, like my sleeve depth, longer than it would have been if I had just knit according to pattern. So I did that, and let's see, sorry, dropped my notes. Yeah, so you just knit that, and then I did knit mine a little bit longer in the body as well. So it is pretty cropped, but I did knit longer than the pattern stated, and yeah, so once you get it under the arms, then you are joined in the round, and you just knit on down to the bottom. And really, it's pretty straightforward once you've gotten it into the round. I would not say this pattern is hard, but it is very detailed. There is quite a bit going on because you are shaping, and you're also working the lace pattern. And when you're up here working, well, even when you're down in the when you're in the round, there are a lot of rounds where you do not have rest rows. So when you're working on the part of the flower that has the baubles, you can see up here, you do have rest rounds on the lace in those sections. So you will only be making the baubles on the front, and you're only sort of knitting a pattern when you're on the front side. But these other like leaf stitches, there's like 2 sets of lace in here, and those do not have any rest rounds. So you are knitting lace on the front and the back when you're working it in the flat. If you're working in the round, you are just knitting lace every single round when you're working on those sections. So there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of baubles in this. I'm not a big bauble fan because I find them super annoying to make, and sometimes I think they can look weird, but I loved the way they looked in Joanna's sample. I mean, I don't think you really can't make this pattern without the baubles. I mean, you could, it's not going to have the same look to it. So I really like how the baubles look. I do not enjoy actually knitting the baubles. They're annoying. So yeah, be prepared if you go into this that there's going to be a lot of detailed work with the baubles. So you knit, there's like one bauble round for each repeat, and then there's 2 baubles for each lace repeat on the next round, and then there's another bauble down below that. So you work 4 baubles for each of this section of the lace, which is a lot of baubles, lots of baubles. So yeah, not a difficult pattern per se, but there's a lot going on. You have to be really patient. You need to definitely be in the mood to work on this and have brain space to devote to what's going on. But the pattern itself is very well laid out. Joanna does a great job of explaining everything very well. I really liked that this pattern has the charts broken out. So sometimes when you're looking at a charted pattern, you know, you'll have different lines for the different sizes, and it can be easy to get off if you're not being careful and knit lace that goes to somebody else's size. In this pattern, Joanna has all of those charts broken out so that you're not looking at other sizes, you're just looking at your own size. So that's really nice. But you do need to be able to read a chart in order to do this, because the lace is fully charted, it is not written out. Let's see what else to say about this. Oh, the yarn that I used for this. So this is actually personally recycled yarn. I used Knitpicks Galileo, which is a sport weight yarn in bamboo and wool. And this is the colorway Stardust. I used 1,063 yards for this size. So the deal with the yarn was I actually had made a top in this several years ago in 2022. I had made a top called Modern Art. I think it was supposed to be a pullover sweater, like with long sleeves, and I had turned that into a short sleeved top. So I made that and I wore it for the pictures, and I maybe wore it one other time and then never again. And so I always felt bad that it was like this unloved knit that I never wore, and I like tried to get myself to wear it, but just every time I would wear it, I don't know, I just felt like it did not look good on me. I thought the yarn looked weird. It was it's shiny. I guess that's the bamboo in it. So I was like, I think that would actually look good in this design, like with the lace, and the lighter, just the lighter pattern in this. I thought the yarn would work well. I also wanted something that was not like full on wool for this obviously spring, summer themed top. So I just decided, you know what? I'm not wearing that. What is the point of having a, finished object that I never wear and just have it sitting there? And so I cannibalized that yarn. I went and unraveled it, and I feel really good about that decision because I never wore that other top, and I have already worn this one more times than I wore the other one, even though this one's been done just like a little over a week. So I really like it, and I don't think that you can see the difference between like I did have some fresh balls of this yarn that had never been used before, and that's what's at the top. The reused yarn is from sort of here on down, and I don't think that you can tell. I can't tell any difference. So I am very happy with that decision and would encourage others to do that. If you have an unloved knit that makes you feel guilty for not ever wearing it, just unravel it and use it for something that you will like. So, yeah, really happy with my choice. I think that the bamboo works great here. Look at the drape. The shininess that's in the yarn doesn't bother me in this pattern. I'm gonna insert video of me wearing it and sort of showing you the whole thing and showing you the drape on it. I'm really happy with this. Like I said, I've already worn it several times. I think it's super pretty, and I highly recommend the pattern when it comes out next week. Joanna's patterns are all very well laid out, and I think she has such an interesting and different take. you know, she is not one of those designers who's doing super simple basics. Like she has so many interesting details in all of her knits, and this one is no different. So highly recommend. Okay. So I'm gonna do that thing where somebody snaps their fingers and they transform into a different top, because I have several to show you. So we'll try that now. All right, I am back, and now I am wearing my Anacortes Pullover. This is a new pattern that has not been released yet, so this is a test knit for MeeshyFraz of MeeshyFraz Knits. Yeah, and I worked on this from March 30th to April 20th. And again, like I was not working monogamously on this. In fact, I was doing this and the summer snow tea at the same time. So this could be finished faster if this is all that you were working on. I knit the size 4, which is a 44-inch bust. This is a top-down raglan in broken rib stitch. Let's see if I can get it to focus there. This dark blue yarn does not make it easy to show detail. But yeah, broken rib stitch, and the one of the major details is the twisted rib raglan that goes all the way around and down the side and finishes down here in the hem. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I knit the 44-inch. I did, let's see, modifications that I made to this. So this is not a modification, but the pattern comes with both long sleeved and short sleeved options, and I opted for the short sleeve. I could definitely see myself making this again in a long sleeved option for those transitional months. This is meant to be worked, so it's worked in DK weight, and Michelle knit hers in a more, I think she used Hikoo Sueño, which is not a fully wool yarn. So it's meant to be worked in a more cool weather type fabric. But I think you could obviously use full wool for this and that would be fine. But I could definitely see myself doing this again in another cotton, wool mix for, in the long sleeve for like a late fall one. But I made this in, Knitpicks Woolen cotton, which is a 50-50 cotton merino blend, and my intention was, yeah, to be able to wear this in the fall, because where I live, it does not regularly get out of the 90s until definitely in October. Often we will still have some 100-degree days in October. So yeah, late. In the fall, we don't have a lot of really those crisp fall days. We sort of go from very hot to not as hot, and then it will just sort of abruptly get cold. But usually that's in December when that starts to happen. So this will be really good for when I want to be able to wear knits in the fall, but it is not warm enough. I mean, it's not cool enough yet to pull out the actual, wool knits. So let's see, what else do I want to say about this? It starts with, like, you cast on at the neck, and then you, after knitting the neck ribbing, the collar ribbing, you then go into short rows in the back. So it does have short rows included. Those are worked in pattern. Like Michelle includes the full instructions for knitting your broken rib, and doing your increases for the raglan and working those short rows at the same time, which is really nice because there are some designers, I won't name names, who don't use short rows very much, and that results in less well-fitting garments. So I'm really glad that Michelle includes that. Let's see, the color that I've used in the wool and cotton is Peacoat Heather. And the only big modification that I made to this was adding short row shaping for the bust. So as I mentioned earlier, since I have such a difference between my upper bust and my full bust, that can result in my garments not hanging straight, because like if you saw with my summer snow tee, I have quite a high-low situation going on with where the front pulls up a lot higher than the back. And some of that is intentional in that pattern, but it's not supposed to be to the degree that it is on me. And that's just a problem that I have with all of my knits if I don't do something to add some length in the front. So yeah, I have just worked short rows. In maybe my last video, I like talked through that whole process of putting those in, but really happy with how those turned out. As you can see, it does hang pretty straight for me, so that's great. Oh, what do I have here? Some thread. Yeah, so that's really nice. And that's a problem. I mean, the not hanging straight is a problem that I have with all garments, not just my own handmade ones. It's just a problem if you have a fuller bust that you have to deal with. Yeah. So I think this is a great pattern. This would be a wonderful early like first garment pattern. Maybe not like your very first, like I would work, you know, a plain stockinette sweater probably first in the round, so that you have an understanding of garment construction. But like once you understand that, this would be a great early pattern because it is very well laid out. All the instructions are given, and it's, you know, it's pretty basic. Oh, I just thought of one other modification that I made, which was that I had to, I think the raglan depth was getting a little bit too long for me. So I had to speed up my rate of increase to get to my full number of stitches and then split a little bit early. So yeah, that was just something that I had to do, because our bodies are not, they don't all follow like the measurements that whatever that group is that puts out, you know, like here's what a size 5 body looks like and where their measurements are and where their, you know, where their sleeve separation should be. Like real bodies don't work like that, right? We all have to make changes to how we knit patterns if we want them to fit our specific body. Okay, so that is the Anacortes Pullover. This one is not released yet. I think it's going to be released in, I'm not sure, June or July, I think. When I have finished with the test, I sort of start to forget like all of the information that might have been given to us at some point about like the release dates and stuff like that. But this one, we had a really nice long window to work on this. And so I don't even think the test has ended yet. I think it ends towards the very end of May. So this one is still in testing, but it will be out soon. And it is a fantastic pattern. I highly recommend. Okay, and now I'm going to switch into the third finished object. All right, I am back in my lavender tank top. Oh, I love this one. Let me see the bow. Okay, so this is the lavender tank top by Along Avec Anna. I made mine in the size 5, which is 106.5 centimeters for the full bust. I have no idea what that translates to in inches. I only speak inches, so I must have done the math to figure out what ease I needed, but I was following the recommendations for ease. This pattern is very size inclusive. It's designed to fit bust 83 centimeters to 160 centimeters. There are a lot of sizes included. I used Drops Cotton Merino, which is a DK weight 50/50 cotton merino blend. This was my first time using any Drops yarn, and definitely the first time using the Drops Cotton Merino. And I was really pleasantly surprised. It was extremely affordable and I really like how it feels. I think this would be a great yarn to use for somebody who was who found wool to be scratchy. I'm not a particularly wool sensitive person, so they don't bother me, but yeah, I find this to be quite soft. So I'm thinking about how I might be able to use this yarn for some of the people in my life who are a little bit more sensitive. When I first got this yarn, I was a little disappointed. The colors just weren't quite what I had envisioned in my head. So I did cast this on back when I was on spring break, March 20th is when I cast it on, and I didn't finish it until May 13th, which is several months, but it was very much on pause while I was working on those test knits. So I think I started this one before I started either of those, and then just like put it off to the side while I was waiting, and I was feeling very blah about it when I put it on pause. I was not excited because I think I was just disappointed in the colors. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly what I had expected and what was different about it. I think maybe it's reading more like baby colors to me than when I had picked these colors out. It's always hard to pick colors online. I bought this from a company called Rito.com. And yeah, it's just hard, especially when you've never bought from a place before, and so you don't know how their photography stacks up to in real life. So anyway, all that to say, I was a little disappointed when I first got this, and so it was unloved for a while, but then after I finished my test knits, I was like, I need something to do, and so I picked it back up, and I really enjoyed it. Like once I got going on it again, because at that point, I think at the point that I quit, I was like, had just maybe joined in the round, and so I just had to do the easy stuff of knitting in the round, and then adding on just the trims. So how this one starts is you cast on stitches for the back. I don't know why I'm trying to show you because you're not gonna be able to see, but you cast on stitches in the back. You knit down, until you get under the arm. You put those on pause, and then you come and pick up stitches from where you cast on, from the back. You can pick those back stitches up and knit down. So you'd start with this like just teeny tiny little like 7-stitch strip that you're working here, and this does not look good until after you've gotten the collar and the armholes on, because it wants to roll really bad and it just looks teeny tiny and super disproportionate. So yeah, pick up stitches, knit those down until you can join, and then you knit down to under the arms, and then you join in the round. Like I mentioned with my summer snow tee, I did have to add length to my fronts and my backs to get my armhole depth where I wanted it. And my armhole depth, I would say, is not even, still with the added length, is still not as deep as what it appears like on the original sample pattern. Like it looks deeper. Now I will say that I did pick up, part of that might have to do with my sleeves. What do you call these? Sleeve bands that I put on, armhole bands, because you can like draw that up a little bit there by picking up fewer stitches if you want to. A modification that I made. So initially when I knit this, I followed the pattern instructions on the number of stitches that I was supposed to pick up along the armhole. And I thought, I was like, wow, I am not getting nearly the 3 stitches for every 4 rows ratio that the pattern said that I should be getting. Mine was more like 1 to 2. But I just went ahead. I don't know what I was thinking. I was not thinking straight. But I just went ahead and did that. And then that resulted in a like teeny tiny, like shrunken armhole that was pulling everything up, and it looked really bad. And I went all the way through and like bound it off and everything. So I had to rip that completely back out. and pick up, and this time I just followed the 3 to 4 ratio rather than caring how many stitches that turned out to be, and that got me a much better armhole. After I did all of that, I realized that the reason that the pattern and my numbers were not matching up was because I had added that length to the front and the back, so I had more rows on there than what were intended originally in the pattern. So yeah, so I did that. So yeah, I got it joined, and then I added my armholes and I added my neckband. I think it says to do all of that last, but I always like to do that before I, finish the body, because otherwise, if you don't do the stuff up here, you don't know exactly how it's gonna hang. And I didn't want this to be too cropped, but I also didn't want it to be too long, because you are putting on this hemband, and I didn't want that wide, heavy hemband like sitting down at the absolute widest part of my hips. So I wanted it to hit right at the top of like my shorts, and I think I got it where I wanted it. So I am happy with my length. Yeah, and once you get all of this knit down, you don't bind off at the bottom, because you are going to knit this double knit button band. So you start with one of your little tails. You cast on stitches for your double knit hemband, and knit that first tail, ribbon, whatever you want to call it, and then you go through and pick up a stitch, one of your live stitches that's at the bottom of the top. You knit that together with the last stitch in your hemband, your double knit hemband, and it makes for this really nice finish. I, for whatever reason, really enjoy double knitting. I find it very, very satisfying. Although I did run into an issue, which if you know the answer to this, I would love for you to tell me how to fix this problem, or if you can point me to a tutorial. So what would happen is that I would drop, like this happened a couple of different times. It wasn't frequently, but like twice in this massive long hemband I was working, I dropped my end stitch on the double knitting, and I, for the life of me, could not figure out how to get everything back on the way that it needed to be. And so what ended up happening, like I got this ugly little line where that happened, where I think it was like a band of yarn that should have been on the inside. It should have been covered up, because it should have been running around the inside of that double knit butting band, but mine got on the outside when I dropped the stitch. And like I said, I just could not figure out how to get that back on there correctly. I did spend some time poking around on the internet, looking for tutorials about how to fix double knitting, drop stitches, and I kept getting, I was pulling up tutorials that did not look like my situation. It looked like the 2-color double knitting, and the stitches that they were showing dropped were on like the flat side, not on the end stitch, which was like, if I did drop stitches on the like flat side of it, but I could pick those up without an issue. It was just something about that end part that was causing me problems. So if you know of how to fix that, I would love to hear it. Please let me know. Yeah, so this would have been a pretty quick knit if I had actually worked on it. Like once I picked it up and worked on it again, it did go quite quickly. Let's see. Like I said, I really enjoy the way that this drops cotton merino feels. It feels really nice on the skin. I was not as crazy about the process, the experience of knitting with it. I found it to be extremely splitty. It is not, I don't know, I'm not a spinner, so I don't know the correct terminology, but it's not very tightly spun, plied. Like the plies just separate. So if you drop a stitch, it can be like it wants to all like split apart, and then it's really easy to split the stitches. You kind of have to pay attention to what you're doing to make sure that you haven't split a stitch somewhere along the way. And like I would find myself having to drop down to pick up or to fix split stitches, which is super annoying to me to do that in these kinds of patterns, right, where you're doing like center double decreases and things like that. So did not super enjoy the process of knitting with it. But I do like so far how it is wearing. It's super, super soft. Actually, I have 2 cotton merinos to show you. So here's the drops. Let's see if I can get this to focus. This is one of my drops colors. You see how like it's so like the plies are very easily split apart. For comparison, here is the Knitpicks woolen cotton that I made my Anacortes pullover with. And like, it is not, the plies are kind of separating there, but it's a much more tightly spun yarn. So it's not just sort of like falling apart while you work with it in the same way. I also found the Knitpicks woolen cotton to be more substantial feeling. Again, might have to do with like the twist on it, but they're both supposed to be DK weight, but I found the woolen cotton to be a more true DK, which is kind of funny because Knitpicks is known for, you know, at least well, I have heard like they're sort of known for saying their yarns are worsted when they're really more like DK weight, and so on. So a little bit, usually a lot of people feel like they're a little bit lighter than what they say on the label, but in this case I felt like this was the more true DK, whereas the Drops Cotton Merino was a little bit lighter. I find, just as I'm holding them, I find the Knitpicks woolen cotton to be a little more textured, where the Drops Cotton Merino feels more smooth and soft to me. Like both of them are not itchy scratchy kind of wool, but I would say the Drops Cotton Merino is softer than the woolen cotton. So just interesting to note since I had both of those and was working with them at the same time. Yeah, so really enjoyed this make once I kind of got over my initial annoyance at the color not being exactly what I wanted. And I'm really happy with it now, and I think it's gonna be super fun to wear this summer. All right, and now I think it is time for maybe my last garment finished object. All right, I'm not gonna sit down to show you this one. I'll just stand up because there is too much of it to fit in the frame. This is my Spark Cardi by Andrea Mowry. So I'm gonna stand up now so you can see it. The sleeves are quite long. All right, we'll see how long I can make it. Maybe I can talk about this one before I have to snap my fingers and change back out of it, because it is very warm. It is wool, and it is definitely not wool weather here. So let's see. I made the size 4 of the Spark cardigan. That is to fit a 46-inch bust. This pattern goes from a 34-inch to a 66-inch bust, so nice and size inclusive. I'm not sure how many inches of positive ease are called for. Yeah, sorry, I didn't look that part up. But 46, so I have 6 inches of positive ease at my upper bust and like no ease at my full bust. And this has been on my needle since February 13th. I finished it on May the 6th, and I definitely was not monogamous on this. I knitted most of it in February, early March. It was basically completely done to the point of it needed to be steeked. And I did that over spring break. So that would have been like mid-March when I did that. So the color work part of this goes really fast. I think this is would be a great early career color work knit. The pattern is repetitive. There are not very many sections where you have super long floats that you need to catch. Yeah, overall, like it was nice to knit. I did not track my yarn usage on this, so sorry about that. I think I used because I had to do a little bit of color management on my Chroma, this color gradient we got going on here, which you can see better down here. So I think I used parts of 3 balls of this. And this whole thing, the whole cardigan, was started in order to try to use up the massive quantities of Chroma worsted I had bought during one of Knitpick's big sale. Like I think I have 10 balls of this stuff maybe, or had 10 balls, and now I have used 3. So I did not use nearly enough or all of the Chroma. I think I ordered some white contrast, and I'm hoping to make like some kind of a blanket with some of the leftover. I'll either do that or just destash it, because now I have used it in a garment. I do not need any more garments out of this. Yeah, and then the cream is High Desert, is Knitpick's High Desert worsted, which I love, love, love. It's such a nice work and such a nice yarn to work with. It is 100% wool, and it's a blend of Merino and Shanico. And I think it's the Shanico that I really like. I don't know. There's something about this yarn. It has like the most, it is soft. It's a very soft, it's next to skin soft, but it's also like more textured and definitely more bounce than Merino has. So something about the Shanico like really adds to it. I love this yarn. It is, Knitpicks has raised their prices on it because like it has some sort of new certification having to do, like, I think with tracking, you know, what happens to the animals and what happens to the wool and everything, which is like really good from a environmental sustainability and, you know, care for animals perspective. But it also really, like, you know, it's like $20 something now a hank, and that's really just out of my price range. So even on sales, like, I don't think I will be able to afford this yarn to work with it. So I have been stocking up on all of their, they were clearancing out the colors that was before they had the that's ready to wear, RWS standard certification or something. So yeah, I'll be really sad when all that's left is the new stuff, because I just really can't afford that. But sorry to go on about my sadness and not being able to afford the yarn. I think I used maybe 6 hanks of the High Desert worsted for this. So it is knit from the bottom up, which I do not love, because yeah, I would definitely have done some things different if this was knit from the top down and I could kind of see where things were gonna end up, because the sleeve depth is a little bit long for me, and yet even because maybe you're like, well, it's just like oversized, but it's not oversized. Andrea Mowry is notorious for her very tight-fitting, slim-fitting sleeves, and that really got me on this. Yeah, I should have gone up a size. My arms aren't terribly, I don't feel like they're terribly big, and they're definitely not small though. Like, so they're, you know, they're muscular arms, but they're not terribly large. So if somebody had really large upper arms for their size, like, they would super struggle with this pattern. But I have long arms, and you know, when I pull the sleeve down where it, you know, really should be, here's my finger, my longest finger is right there. So like they're just kind of ridiculously long, and they're not, because they are tight, it also feels weird to pull them up because they just get all wrinkled and stuff. So it's not like huge oversized, that kind of sleeves that are long, which makes sense. These are just long and tight, which I don't love. I lost my note. I'm sitting on it. Let's see, what else did I have to say about this? Oh, yeah, and so being bottom up, yeah, it can't really, I mean, if you knew your measurements and did the math and were paying attention and everything, like you could make changes to try to address your issues, but I was actually on row gauge, which is pretty unusual. Often my row gauge, if I get stitch gauge, my row gauge will be off, but my row gauge was on. So like, I think this is the length that it was supposed to be, or pretty close to it. And it's just long. The belt loops, I think one thing that would help me a little bit is if I moved these belt loops up, because this right now, they definitely don't, the belt is not sitting at my natural waist. And I think that's making it look more sort of dumpy on me than it would have to be. So I'm going to try to work up the will to go back and unpick my very well hidden ends and pull those belt loops off and redo them maybe half an inch higher, and see if that helps me feel a little bit better about it. But overall, I would just say the proportions on this are not good for me. I'm pretty short. I am not quite 5'4", and I think Andrea Mowry is taller. Like I want to say, you know, she's 5'8" or something. I may be making that up, but I'm pretty sure that she's definitely taller than I am. And so it looks great on her, the length, but I just don't think it's quite right for me. So this was kind of an ugh for me, unfortunately, but I am glad that it's finished, and maybe I will enjoy wearing it in the winter. We shall see. Okay, I don't think I have another finished garment to show you, but I am going to snap out of this so that I can put on something cooler. All right, I am back in a cooler top here. So my next finished object is the Songbird Mitts by Sarah Kelly of Grey Owl Knits. This is a pattern I tested for Sarah back in October, I think it was September, October, sometime in the fall. And when I do test, especially well, I have not done this for garments, but only for like accessories like this, when I knit an accessory, I'm test knitting, I will often like go out onto my social media and ask my friends if they're interested in having this finished object, and if so, I will let them buy it for me basically at the cost of my yarn. And if they let me know ahead of time that they want to do that, claim it, they can help me pick out the colors for it so that they can kind of have some control over that. And so I have enjoyed doing that. It's a great way to participate in test knits, and know that you're going to have a good home for whatever it is that you're testing, because there's only so many pairs of fingerless mitts, right, that one person needs. So I had done that back in the fall when I tested this, and the friend who bought that first pair for me reached out and asked if she could commission another pair in specific colors to match. I think she does Renaissance fairs, and she was having a new dress made for that, and so she sent me some inspiration photos and asked if there was anything that could match that. And so I pulled out several color combinations for her, and this is the one that she chose. This is Knitpicks palette, love palette for color work. It's a very woolly fingering weight yarn. And let's see, the dark red is Raspberry Heather, the green is Pistachio, and I lost my ball band for this lighter pink color. I want to say it's maybe Rose Hip or something along that line, but it's a sort of dusty browny pink, orange leaning pink, I think. It's funny, like these color, like I feel like the raspberry heather looks a lot more, it's leaning more orange in this combination than it does just in the ball. If you look at it by itself, I feel like it's like it looks pretty pinkish red, but it reads more like brick to me in this combination. But anyway, yes, but this is what she picked. This is a super fun color work. I love color work. This was a palette cleanser in the middle of all of my testament knitting. I would work on this, you know, when I just couldn't deal with the lace knitting anymore. Lace knitting for me is one of those things that it is brain on. I have to be focused. I need to be well rested at the time that I'm working on it. Whereas color work is much easier for me, unless it's really tricky color work where I'm having to count like every single stitch and I can't read, you know, the pattern, like I can't see in the pattern where things are supposed to be. Color work is not like, I do not have to have all of my brain cells working in order to be able to do color work. And this pattern, this is not the easiest color work pattern because it's not small, you know, and repeating, but it is not super hard either. There's not a lot of long float carrying. There's no 3-color knitting. This is duplicate stitch. So that, I would say that's the only annoying thing about this pattern is if you want those extra little flecks of color here and there, you will need to add that through duplicate stitch or put on your big girl underwear and do 3-color knitting, which I am not willing to do. So that's not me. So really enjoyed those. They were fun, and hopefully soon that will be mailed off to my friend who is going to give those a good home. All right, so now we are moving on to works in progress. And I have one that is very, very close. Like it is so close to being done. This is my KP Rasen, and it is, I have one sleeve done and I am to the point of doing the box pleat on the other one. And once I do the box pleat, all that is left to do is like a like 3-row garter stitch sleeve hem thing. So here's the box pleat on the first one. Isn't that cute? This is one of the things that really drew me to this pattern. I loved this detail. I thought it was so sweet. So yeah, this one is almost done. It is rolling like crazy. All that you do for the hem is a little garter stitch. I mean, like I said, it's like 3 or 4 rows maybe. So I hope that blocking it is able to pull that down, because right now it is rolling horribly. So hopefully I don't have to go back and redo something. But yeah, this has got like, you know, basically less than an hour's worth of work, and it will be finished aside from blocking. So it should definitely be done the next time that I record. And I'll give you like the rundown on the details on that next time. And we'll find out. I think I've tried it on since I finished the body length just to make sure that it was the right length. I don't think I've tried it on since I finished the sleeve. So we'll see. It'll be exciting for me to see if I actually like it. I don't have any other tops that are A-line, so I'm not sure if that's like a shape that I am going to like on myself. Yeah, because the designer or the model of the pattern like is super tiny, very thin, and that's definitely not me. So I'm not sure. It looks really good on her. Don't know how to look on me. We shall see. I'm making that in linen quill in rhubarb pink. Really enjoying that yarn. It's such a nice yarn. I really like it. And I think knit at this pretty loose gauge that it will be good for the transitional months where I live. So I will not be able to wear it once I finish it. That was my goal, was I was hoping to get it done in time to be able to wear it like maybe once for real before it had to be put away, but I have missed that, and it's definitely too warm to be wearing long sleeved wool and alpaca blend stuff. So okay, and then I had started my Umbria summer top. Sorry, it's spread all out here in front of me. This is a cute little summer top, as the title might suggest, by Cookie the Knitter. I'll show you what I have so far. Sorry, my stitch stoppers are all tangled up in the yarn. Here we go. Oh, that's the wrong side. So not much to see so far. You start with the collar, and then you just go directly into increasing. Yeah, I am making the size large, which is the size 5. That has 43. That's the 43.5 bust. So again, that's based on my upper bust measurement. Like I should have some positive ease there. I will have negative ease at the full bust. I think this is meant for like 0 to 2, maybe inches of ease. So yeah, I didn't want too much, but I also didn't want like buttons popping off with my full bust. So, let's see. I am using Hikoo CoBaSi in Raffi tonal. I used CoBaSi a couple of years ago to make a rocket tee, and really enjoyed the yarn. It's super, like, it's not soft in the hank, but I mean, it's not scratchy or rough or anything like that, but it's just, it doesn't scream soft as I'm sitting here playing with it. But it's very bouncy, it's very squishy, and I love that tee. I wear it all the time in the summer. It is very comfortable, even when it's 1,000 degrees here. And it's not scratchy at all when you're wearing it. So even though I wouldn't describe it as soft in the ball, like, it feels plenty soft on your skin. Yeah. I don't think when I ordered this, that I fully thought through the tonal aspect of it. So I'm kind of annoyed with myself that I didn't just get like a solid, I mean, I bought this from Little Knits, yarn, where they sell like closeouts and stuff. So I probably didn't have a whole lot of choice of color. I think this was just on sale, super sale, and I was like, oh, I want to knit with that again. And so I got it. But yeah, it is tonal, which is annoying, because it is meaning that I am having to manage my yarn in order to keep it from pooling, and I still might end up with some pooling. I'm trying hard to prevent it by alternating my skeins as I go, but yeah, that's annoying. I figure if worse comes to worse though, and it pools and I hate it, I can try to over dye it with, couldn't do it with Kool-Aid because this isn't animal, it's not animal, what do you call it? It's not animal wool. It is the cotton and bamboo and silk. So I guess there is some protein fiber in there in the silk, but I was thinking like a RIT dye or something if I needed to over dye it. Yeah, so I was super excited about this. I've been thinking about this top since last year when I first saw it, and so I was very excited to cast it on, but I will say it's sort of lost its appeal. I don't know. I'm just kind of, I need to try it again. I haven't worked on it in about a week because I had something else that came along and sucked my interest up, but I just was not feeling this project. So maybe, hopefully the next time that I pick it up, I will be, because I really do want the finished product, and I know I like wearing this yarn, fabric made from this yarn, so I just need to suck it up and get back to work on it, but it has not seen any attention recently. Let's see, was there anything I was going to say about that? I don't think so. Okay. So the object that has stolen my heart and my attention away from the Umbria top is one of the other tops that was on my list of potential summer makes, and that is the Movement Tee by Lily Kate France. So cute. So cute. The details on this, I love that little like peekaboo folded hem, which you have on the top as well. And yeah, so this is, like I said, the Movement Tee by Lily Kate France. I'm doing a combination of the size 4 and 5 because my, like, I by measurements and stuff, like I should be doing the size 4, but my gauge was tighter than it is supposed to be per the pattern, but I did not think that this yarn could deal with going up. Like I didn't want to get too loose with this yarn. So I just decided to go for the size 5. And that might get me closer. Like I did do math, and thought this would be pretty close. But somewhere along the way, I missed some increases or something because it's definitely, it is definitely not the correct size 5 numbers either. So like I'm really somewhere in between a size 4 and a 5. So I ordered so I'm using Drops Bell is the yarn for this, and I ordered that back in March. I did a big order and got the Drops Bell, the Drops Cotton Merino for this, and what was the other one? Oh, not Drops, but Skepius yarn, the stonewashed for the, if you saw my last video, the Disassociation Stanley, my little stuffed raccoon that I made, that was with the Skepius yarn. And Rito was having, they were having a big sale on, I think all of those things were on sale. But the Drops Bell and Cotton Merino in particular were like almost half price of what they normally are, which they're not normally like very expensive. So this whole thing, this whole little t-shirt is only going to cost like, I don't know, $12.50 or something, I think. Yeah, I need to do the math on it, but it is not very expensive. And so when I ordered this, at first I looked at the yarn, and much like the Cotton Merino, it was like, ugh, you know, it wasn't the color, like the color was fine in this one because it was the color I didn't like on this, but on this, I just thought that the yarn seemed kind of gross. I don't know. Like I did not like how it felt. Here's a picture, or here's, let you see it up close. I don't know what's showing up there for you, but like it's clearly visible, like the different strands that are making it up. It is a cotton linen viscose blend. So viscose is bamboo, I think. So it makes sense that you can see different strands in it because there are very different fibers in there. But when I just looked at it in the ball, I don't know. I just did not think that it looked pleasant. However, I have been very pleasantly surprised since I cast it on. So I actually cast this on because I was just like, I need something really easy. That Umbria top is not, like, it's not hard, but it requires concentration because you're doing broken rib in a dark color, and you're also doing raglan shaping at the same time. And I think that, I don't know, there was short row shaping and stuff in that, the Umbria top as well. So I was like, I just need something stockinette in the round, and I really don't have anything else aside from that KP Yoke Rasen sweater, which is about to be finished. And so I was like, I need to get something else on my needles so that I will have something to the point where it's just in the round and I can do my mindless knitting. So I started this for that purpose, and I was like, I'm just gonna get past the short rows, because you start with the folded collar, and then you work short rows in the back, and then you start working your stripe pattern and your raglan increases and all of that. And I was just intending to get it started to there, but this is what happened. Like, this is like a weekend's worth of knitting and a little bit this week. I'm filming on Wednesday, so I have had a couple of weekdays, but not a ton of knitting time. So yeah, all of that to say, I was only planning to go to here on this thing, and now I have done all of that, and I'm about to not have a project to work on in the round, because stockinette in the round, because it's about to be done, because I just enjoyed it so much. I think the pattern is really neat. I love all of the details. So mine does not look great right now because it's, you know, got ends hanging out everywhere, but you have a turned collar, turned sleeves. There's not a turned hem because the designer stated that she felt like it added too much bulk at the waist. So, you know, very thoughtful decision not to put that on there. It does have short rows, a short row option built in, so which I did do. So that extra wide section here, that's my short rows for my bust, and I have tried this on, and it does hang nice and straight for me from the front to the back, and I just think it is so cute, and it has come together very quickly, and I really like this yarn. So I don't know how it'll wash up, you know, I have not done that yet, but I feel like the reviews on this say that I mean, I haven't seen people complaining about it being bad after it has been washed. So I love this, both the pattern and also the yarn. I really like it at this stage. Again, you know, caveat being that I have not washed it yet. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this finished and to get it washed and worn. I find the yarn to be very pleasant to work with. I will say it is splitty, and so like the cotton merino, the drops cotton merino, I have seen a number of times where I have split my stitches and not noticed it, and so I'm having to like ladder down and go back and fix that and then pick that back up, which is annoying. So, I mean, because it does mean that you have to, like, even though this is supposed to be my stockinette in the round pattern, I am having to watch that more, but I guess I'm willing to pay that price in order to have a top that I can wear hopefully in the summertime without dying. And I will tell you, I like this yarn so much, have been so pleased with it, that I already have another tea quantity of it in blue and white or blue and blue, like to make another movement tee. So I haven't, like, I don't know, I guess that's a testament, right, to both the yarn and to the pattern, that I like them so well that I've already got another one, the yarn for one sitting in a cart, waiting for me to finish this one. I'm waiting on that because I am kind of worried that I'm gonna run out of yarn. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of finish this before that sale on drops cotton goes off, so that I can get another ball or two of this ordered if I'm going to run out of yarn. So yeah, and I'm looking at doing, Sorry Nordland just published the Ebba vest, and she has done that in like a natural linen looking color, so like a, you know, beige off-white, and so I was thinking I could do that. It's a DK is what that pattern calls for, and I was like, I could do that in some drop spell, and I bet it would be really good in that pattern, very breathable and super cost effective. So yeah, excited about that. I have not pushed the button on that that cart yet, so maybe we'll see. Maybe I can stop myself from doing that. Okay, and then finally I have a swatch for a new make, and that is the Everyday Attitude tee by Suzanne Summer, which is like a garter stitch striped situation. I'll put a picture of it up there. But I'm gonna make that in Barocco Remix Light, and I swatched in this color, which is Bubblegum. I swatch. And you guys can see what a terrible swatcher I am. It is tiny. I hate swatching. And I feel like half the time the swatches lie anyway. You know, like you think you figured it out and it's still like once you measure your gauge in your actual project, it's not the same gauge that your swatch was. But I have never worked with this yarn before. And so I wanted to wash it and see what it was like, how it changed after washing it. I haven't decided what colors I'm doing. I got, I'm gonna do like the main color as in pepper, which is like a black yarn in the Barocco Remix Light. You know, they're all kind of flecked. So it's like a black, mainly black. And then I have a light pink, which I don't remember what the color name on that one is. And then this like darker I feel like on the pictures on Knitpick's website, like this looks more pink in person. This is reading more like coral colored to me. It's definitely an orange cast to this pink. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do the pepper and probably just the light pink with it as the contrast stripe, but I was thinking I might do like an every once in a while stripe of this instead of the light pink. I'll have to see how it's looking, how I feel like once I get going, but yeah, I have enough yarn that I could do either or both of those if I wanted to. But I was interested to try this yarn. I've heard like good things about it, the Barocco Remix Light. And I guess I'm on like a, you know, holy grail hunt for summer yarns that I enjoy working with, and that feel good to wear in the summer. Because I will say on the Movement Tee and the Drop Spell, I have really been, like I said, I've really been enjoying working on those, and I did a whole bunch. Like I think I cast that on Friday night and had most of the sweater, you know, most of this was done by Monday after casting on late Friday evening. So I did a bunch on it, and my elbow is feeling it. So this elbow, yeah, and I think that's just the less stretchy fibers that I'm working with in the Drop Spell. So yeah, so always on that quest for a good summer fiber that doesn't hurt me, that I can wear, and also that is affordable, doesn't break the bank. So if you have any recommendations for such a unicorn fiber, I would love to know it. Yeah, because I'm trying to branch out. I have been mostly, you know, a Knitpicks buyer. I liked that their lines were kind of set, and you know, once I had used one like try to color of a line, I kind of knew what to expect, and you could expect the same colors across multiple lines, and I just liked not having like tons and tons and tons of options. But Knitpicks, you know, was not too long ago acquired by a private equity firm, and their practices, their marketing, and their pricing have really changed. So I don't know, I feel like I'm being priced out of what was once a very affordable brand. So I am starting to look overseas at the drops yarn. So yeah, if you have suggestions for affordable, nice summer yarns, I would love to hear that. And also if you have any suggestions about the problem that I was having with the drop stitches on the double knitting, I would love to, yeah, get your input on that. So until the next time, bye.